All right, what is going on, guys? We have a nice 8-game slate to talk about for Monday. I see we got some 90s Nick versus 90s Cartoon Network going on. I think it's got to be the 90s Nickelodeon for me, at least. Yeah, so what we'll do is, if you guys are new to the stream, how this works, we'll take a look at what we know so far, review the Vegas odds, and then I'll go team by team, talk about players I like, leave some room for questions at the end. So last night, once again, injury slate for me. I had Halliburton low-owned, injured. I had a low-owned LeBron get injured, not come back for the last 5 minutes. Just one of those weeks where I want to forget. But again, good thing on DFS, always a new slate. And yeah, so let's talk about this one. Schroeder still out. We got LeBron James out as well. Norman Powell currently questionable for the Blazers. Nerlens Noel is questionable as well. Let's see. Again, LeBron out. So they're missing 2 point guards. We'll talk about Caruso. We'll talk about THT. Even a guy like Kyle Kuzma, who always lets me down. But I think those three become firmly in play, as well as Anthony Davis there at the top. Let's see. What else do we got? Gary Harris starting. That's not big news. Brogdon out. Goga out. Jeremy Lamb out for the Pacers. So they are thin. Adams is out too. I think that the Wizards-Pacers game obviously stands out. So let's take a look at some of these odds again. I might have to refresh this. Hold on. Let's see. All right, so I'm not going to go through each one of these games, but looks like they might have just taken the Pacers game out with that Brogdon news. But yeah, Hawks, Blazers, the 236 over under. Hawks 2.5 point favorites. And I'm guessing once that Pacers Wizards game comes back, I'm thinking it's going to be over 240. I didn't look at it, but I would guess it's around there. What's going on, guys? TK for president. All right, so let's talk about the first game, which is a really, really appealing game, in the Indiana Pacers and the Washington Wizards. So on the Pacers side, Domantas Sabonis, no Brogdon, no Miles Turner. So he's going to be playing mostly at the 5. One of the best spots you can get. I really like Sabonis here. I think he's one of the best plays of the slate. He did go for 75 in 3 quarters against OKC, which is absolutely, like, he was on pace for about 100 fantasy points. That is crazy. Not going to get that production most likely, but I still think he is one of the better spots of the slate. So really like Sabonis. I think he's a safe play with upside in this matchup. A clear guy to pair him with, and a guy like Russell Westbrook on the opposite side. This game's going to be popular, as it should be on this 8-game slate. Caris LeVert at 8.6. Firmly in play. I think LeVert will get more, or I think LeVert firmly in play. I think Sabonis will get more ownership. But yeah, LeVert is still a guy that, in close games should play about 35 minutes. No Brogdon. He'll handle some of the point guard duties as well. So I do like LeVert as well. This game is for sure stackable. Like, you could play Sabonis, LeVert, run it back with Westbrook, and then just play value from there. Scrolling down a bit more, O'Shea Brissett, what you have to be careful with Brissett is now you're paying a premium from almost 7K. And the last few games have all been blowouts where he has just played the entire time in the blowout. So, like, just be careful. Right? In a close game, obviously he's not going to have as high of usage in, like, the fourth quarter or even in, like, the second half. So that's the downside there with Brissett. Not completely out of play, but I'm not really looking to him at that price. And then keep an eye on the starting lineup. Like, maybe McConnell starts at 5-4. If he does, would like him a lot more. If he comes to the bench, he's still for sure in play, but just becomes a little bit riskier. Sumner, I just don't know if I can target him. He's left the last 2 games with knee soreness, and he's been available in the next game. It worries me, right, that back-to-back games he has left and not returned. So I just don't know if I can pull the trigger on him in an 8-game slate for that reason. Holiday, fine, play at 4-2. McDermott, if he starts, I think is viable. Now, he did shoot 11 of 14 last game, so be careful. We're not going to get that shooting again. But if he does start at 4K, I think we probably get 25 to 30 minutes from him in a good matchup. So do have interest in McDermott for value. Aaron Holiday, kind of the same thing I'll say about Brissett. He's got extended a bit because of blowouts. Riskier value play for sure. And that's where I'm at for the Pacers. So on the Washington Wizards side, obviously Westbrook, you just play him, right? I just don't know why DraftKings doesn't move his price. He should be a 12K plus player, in my opinion, right now. And they could continue to just leave him at 11K. So once again, he's going to be very, very popular for good reason. Top play of the slate for sure, Russell Westbrook. Top spend up. Love him. Again, not much else to say here about Westbrook. You guys know what to do with him. Brad Beal at 9.5. Well, it's the same thing. Right? I'm a broken record with the Wizards because the price points don't move. Westbrook's going to be popular. There's a slight, there's an off chance something happens to him, foul trouble, or he has a really off game. Then it's Brad Beal that produces. Brad Beal's coming in a way lower ownership, but just for optimal build-wise, there's just no way you can play Beal over Westbrook. Now, could you play those two together and run it back like a Sabonis or LeVert and just full stack it for GPPs? Sure, you can do that. But that's about it. That's the only way I play those two together. And the center rotation, just good luck. Just good luck trying to deal with the headache of Scotty Brooks. Gafford played 25 minutes last game. When I play him, he plays 13 minutes. When I don't, he plays 25. So tilting. He's a good point per minute guy, but you just can't trust it. You can't trust it. It's worth the dart throw in GPPs, but I just get so frustrated with it. With teams that run like a three-headed center rotation, just have no consistency. It really, really gets under my skin. So Sumner available to play. Andrew Wiggins is a game time decision. That is pretty significant. We'll talk about that in a sec. All right, so let's see where are we at, guys. 200 viewers and 40 likes. If you could leave a like button on the live stream, does help me out a ton. Let's aim for 100 likes on this one. Thank you guys a lot. All right, so I'll get back into it. Orlando and Detroit. This is a game we can get some value here. Both teams shorthanded, both two bad teams. Cole Anthony at 6.9K did have 50 fantasy points the last game. Don't expect that again. I think he's like a fine play in the mid-range. It should play 30 to 35 minutes. So Anthony is a fine play at that price. Carter Jr., Mo Bamba going to split the tournament. So if I would pick one, that will be Bamba, who is the better point per guy of the two. Then you have some kind of gross value with Dwayne Bacon and Gary Harris. They're both playable. Gary Harris is starting. I expect Bacon to start too. They're just a thin team. Bacon, you can get you there, but again, he's got to hit the threes. I think the guy I like the best is Mo Wagner, assuming he starts. Played 34 minutes the last game. I think assuming he starts, we'll probably get similar run from him at that price for sure in play. And then you can take a shot on a guy like RJ Hampton off the bench who did play 30 minutes the last game. I'm expecting about 25 from him at 4 more of a contrarian value play. All right, on the Detroit side, so it's kind of the same situation here. All the veterans resting, so we got Stewart, Bay, Jackson, Hayes, Frank Jackson, all in play here. Honestly, I think my favorite is Isaiah Stewart. I think he goes a little bit overlooked in the slate. I feel like a lot of people are going to go to chase the Sadiq Bey game or maybe go to Josh Jackson. I think my favorite is Isaiah Stewart here. He's a guy that's gone for 50-plus multiple times when Plumlee's been out. You sit here. 50 in 32 there against OKC, 50 against Cleveland in 32 minutes, 43 here against Dallas. The only reason he kind of busted here against Charlotte was, yes, he was having a bad game, but he also got an early foul trouble. I think Isaiah Stewart's still a pretty good play in the mid-range. No, Bay, Jackson, for sure, and play the mid-range. Again, Bay had the big game last game, might be a little bit over-owned, but he's going to play huge minutes. Josh Jackson also played 35 minutes. We know he's not afraid to shoot the ball. So those two wings for the Pistons, I think, look like pretty safe plays with upside. Killian Hayes, a 5'2", more of a secondary option for me, but he did play 32 minutes the last game. Not as high of a usage guy, but yeah, just like a fine play. And then Frank Jackson off the bench had a big game. I think he gets about 25 to 30 minutes. He went for 34 minutes and 42 fantasy points the last game. But yeah, Jackson I think is viable as well. And then I don't even think I can stomach a guy like Sekou Naboya, who did start, but I just don't know if I have to go there like him or Tyler Cook will kind of man the four. Ugh. Probably not for me. All right, Golden State and New Orleans. Another game that looks pretty appealing here. We're still waiting on Wiggins news. This is pretty significant. We'll start with Steph Curry at the top. I think is one of the better GPP plays of the slate. Now, if you're going to ask me Westbrook versus Curry, once again, it's going to be Westbrook for me. This has way more of the peripheral stats than Steph. You can play both together, but Westbrook just has the higher floor than Steph. Draymond Green, I think, is a good play in the mid-range that goes overlooked, especially if there's no Wiggins. That's just one less, high-usage guy out of the offense in Wiggins and Oubre. So, Draymond will probably have the ball in his hands more. He's a guy that's triple-double upside in a type of matchup like this. So, do have some interest there, Draymond at that price. And then Bazemore, I think, is fine, is a solid play if Wiggins is in. But if Wiggins is out, he might have to play 35-plus minutes. He's been a pretty solid point per guy. So, do have interest in Bazemore than the mid-range. And then if there's no Wiggins, then we can maybe consider guys like Poole, Toscano Anderson. I don't think I consider maybe Mulder starts, but I don't know if I can consider him. It would just maybe boost the appeal of guys like Poole, Toscano Anderson. The issue with Poole is he's a little more reliant on the scoring, but if he starts, would like him more there. And then Looney's Looney. He's going to play 25 minutes. He's probably going to get you 15 to 20-ish fancy points, and that's just all right. So, really, GPPs, love Steph. I think Draymond's a good play in the mid-range that's going overlooked. I like Bazemore, like him especially if Wiggins is out, and then maybe guys like JTA and Poole if there's no Wiggins. On the Pelican side, so Zion Williamson, I think, is a good contrarian spend up. He's going to go overlooked in the slate. He's going to be low owned, but he's still a guy that can go for 50+, even 60+, where you want for 60 in overtime against Minnesota. Not an optimal spend up, but definitely in play if you want to get different. Ingram's just fine at that price. Lonzo Ball has been playing really well. 2 of the last 3 games, 65 and 67 fantasy points. He's a guy that has triple-double upside. This is an up-tempo matchup. He should play big minutes. So even I think this price point scares some people off. Not me. I still think Lonzo is a pretty good play at that price. And then we have no Steven Adams. So Hernan Gomez I think is a pretty good play in the mid-range. I think we get about 25 to 30 minutes from him as long as he stays out of foul trouble. Not really worried about foul trouble too against a guy like Kevon Looney. So I think Hernan Gomez is a pretty good play in the slate. One of the better plays in the mid-range in my opinion. Bledsoe, 25 to 30 minutes. Been bad, but kind of an upside game here and there. And that's where I'm at. I will mention Jackson Hayes. If Hernan Gomez gets in foul trouble, it's Hayes that's coming in. He's a decent point guard guy himself, and he's way cheaper. If you want to get off I think, somewhat popular Hernan Gomez, you can take the shot on Jackson Hayes to differentiate yourself for GPPs. All right, 3 games up, 3 games down. Let's see. Do we have any more updates as far as news? Kelly Oubre out a couple more games. Okay, still waiting the Wiggins news. Portland, Atlanta. I think this game's going a little bit overlooked. Kind of like it for tournaments, though. Lillard, CJ, I don't think are going to be super popular. We have Westbrook, we have Steph Curry in the slate. They're going to go a little bit under-owned. Lillard, though, can go for 50-plus this matchup. Going for 57 against Boston. This is an easier spot here against Atlanta Hawks. I kind of like Lillard for GPPs. I like CJ for GPPs, too. Again, I don't think they're going to get much ownership. And I do like Nurkic, again, at 7-1. He's just, I think, a little bit too cheap. 29 minutes, 40 fantasy points there against Boston. Brooklyn game was on pace for probably 45. Memphis game was on pace for about 45. Pacers game was on pace for about 50. Like, people are going to box score watch and just see these, like, somewhat, subpar games. But they don't realize blowout, blowout, blowout. He lost minutes in all 3 of those games. And this game, where actually stayed close, went for 40. So, I am once again on Yusuf Nurkic, and I think he'll be low owned. Now, with a guy like Norman Powell, keep an eye on this. He's currently questionable. If he misses, I'm curious to see what they do. Like, do they move a guy like Melo in the starting lineup? Maybe. If Melo starts at 4K, I think he's someone we can get to for value. He's been, a decent point per minute guy off the bench, and if he starts, obviously more minutes. Like, I don't know if Simons starts alongside the 3 guards. I just don't know who else they're going to start. My guess it would be Melo. So, yeah, if there's no Norman Powell, I think you could look to a guy like Carmelo Anthony for value. Atlanta Hawks side, Trae Young at 9-4. I like for tournaments. Again, we have Westbrook, we have Steph. They're going to eat up all the ownership at the top. No one's going to get to guys like Lillard, a guy like Trae Young. I like this game to stack for GPPs. It's going overlooked, and it has a lot of upside. 2 teams that play very fast. I mean, you've seen Portland. They play 0 defense. Kind of the same thing with Atlanta Hawks. So I like Trae for GPPs. I think Capella is fine. Would rather play Nurkic on the opposite side for cheaper. Bogdanovich seems a little bit overpriced if you want to go there for a game stack. I'm not going to talk you off him. That's it, though, for the Hawks. All right, Knicks and Memphis Grizzlies. So we got to start with Nerlens Noel. I do not expect him to play. He left the game last game due to an ankle injury. Assuming he misses and Taj Gibson starts, I mean, I think it's hard to get away from Taj at 3-1. He played 32 minutes. Yes, he only went for 12 fantasy points. That doesn't worry me too much. It's a slate where there's not a ton of smash value right now, and if Taj Gibson starts, he's going to be one of the best value plays in the slate. So really like Taj if there's no Nerlens Noel. And then Randall, I think, goes overlooked. He'll play some of the backup 5 when Taj is not out there if Noel is out, which does give him a slight boost. He's already been a high-usage guy. I think he, like a lot of other stars on the slate, are going a little bit overlooked, but Randall for GPPs I'm fine with. And then Derrick Rose. Off the bench, he should play about 30 minutes. Besides that game against Chicago, he shot 2 of 11, 41, 37, 38, and 31 fantasy points. I'm good with Derrick Rose. Now, keep an eye on, is Burks going to play in this one? I know they held him out due to conditioning. Like, if Burks is in, then that would make Rose riskier. But if Burks is out, I think you can fire away on Derrick Rose at that price. All right, Memphis Grizzlies. This will be pretty simple. It's a tough matchup, and there's just not much here. Ja, JV, as dart throws for tournaments, fine. Grayson Allen, if he's out, yes, you can play Desmond Bane. You'll play 31 minutes and went for 12 feints once last game. But he's been a lower usage guy in this offense, and it's a tough matchup. All right, Philadelphia and Chicago. Let's see. Joel Embiid at 10-6. Again, I think it's going to go a little bit overlooked. Chicago, their Vucevic is questionable, so keep an eye on that one. But yeah, Embiid, I think, is a good contrarian GPP play. Should play, 30 to 35 minutes. But I don't think I get there in cash games. Ben Simmons, Tobias Harris have been awful. I get it if you want to try to buy low in this matchup, but I just think there's better options on the slate for me to go to either of them. And then on the Chicago side, it depends on Vooch. Levine doubtful, don't expect him to play. If Vooch is out, then we have guys like Thad Young and Daniel Tice that have become firmly in play in the mid-range. I would expect Tice to start, probably play about 30 minutes. I don't love targeting centers against Joel Embiid, but he's cheap enough where it's like, okay, I could see pulling the trigger on him. And then Thad Young almost went for triple-double last game in 33 minutes. I think, again, those two look pretty solid in the mid-range. Wouldn't get to Markkanen, probably wouldn't get to Patrick Williams either. If both, again, Vooch and Zach LaVine are out, then Kobe White, I think, is fine tournament play. He let me down big time last game, but previous games, 38, 30, 31, and 47 fantasy points. I think he's, again, good contrarian GBP play. Both those guys are out. All right, guys, we have 2 games left. We're at 350 viewers and 78 likes. So try to reach 100 before the end of the show. Really do appreciate it. Let me refresh again. We got a good amount of time. We got about 15 minutes until I have to get out of here. So, all right, Denver and the Lakers. On the Denver side, again, Jokic, I think, is a safe play. He's going to play big minutes, about 35. And, again, clear number one is offense. I do like Jokic at the top. I think Michael Porter Jr. is a fine contrarian play at 8-4. He's been their clear number 2 guy. The rest of the Nuggets, I just don't trust the value with guys like Gordon, Dozier, Campazzo, Austin Rivers, even the bigs at the bench. I don't have a good feeling about any of them. If you land on like Campazzo or Dozier or like Austin Rivers' last piece in, that's all right, but it just doesn't stand out in this spot. And then the LA Lakers, this is a team that is really interesting now. So, LeBron out, Schroeder out. Do expect Davis, Kuzma, and KCP to play. We got to start with, where is he? Alex Caruso. Where's Alex Caruso? He's at flat min price. He started last game and played 26 minutes. So, assuming he starts again, there's no LeBron, so it's one less point guard basically on this team. I think Caruso's one of the better value plays of the slate. Also, Talon Horton-Tucker at 4.1K, I think becomes firmly in play. He played 22 minutes off the bench. Again, they just have no other guards. Like, who else is going to run the point guard for this team, right? No LeBron, no Schroeder. They got Caruso and THT, right? Those are the only 2 point guards. Like, I don't know who else can bring up the ball. Like, can Kuzma bring up the ball? Maybe. But, yeah, I think it's going to be a lot of Caruso and THT. I like them both a good amount for value for the Lakers. And then Kuzma, again, a 5-2 with no LeBron, with no Schroeder. He played 36 minutes last game. I would guess he starts. Like, they could start Markieff Morris, but, like, would they really want to start Markieff Morris, AD, and Drummond next to each other? Probably not. So, Kuzma, assuming he starts, I think is a good play in the mid-range. And then Drummond, I just don't really want to do it. You can go there for GPPs. I just hate playing this guy. Anthony Davis at 9-7 also, does get a boost with no LeBron, no Schroeder. I think he's a viable spend up as well. So Lakers are a team with LeBron out, a lot more interesting. And you got AD at the top, you got Kuzma in the mid-range, and you got guys like THT, Caruso. I think right now are 2 of the better value plays on the board. And then finally, San Antonio and Utah, kind of ugly game, but we have DeJounte Murray in. DeMar DeRozan's a fine GPP play at 8-3. Is going to be the number 1 on offense, even though it's a tough matchup. There's not much else here with DeJounte Murray in. I'm not really looking at guys like Patty Mills or Lonnie Walker now. And on the Utah side, I think this team will go also a little bit lower owned. Gobert, no thanks. Clarkson feels a little bit pricey for GPPs. Him and Bojan Bogdanovic are somewhat similar plays because they're reliant on scoring, and when they do get hot, they can go for 40 plus. But right now, nothing more than tournament plays at their respective prices. I think Ingles is actually the safest. We'll play a lot of the point guard. She'll play about 35 minutes. I think Joe Ingles is a perfectly fine play in the mid-range. Royce O'Neal, Niang, probably not for me on this one. So that's where I'm at for the 8-game slate, guys. All right, so we got about, again, 15 minutes left for some questions. Make sure to throw them in there. And, let's do it. Hoping for no injuries. No injuries, that would be great. Oh yeah, we have a lot of love in the chat. All good vibes here. There's definitely tilting, right? Allow the tilt for each other. But yeah, definitely good vibes. I love it. That wasn't one guy said I didn't know shit. Yeah, only person I trust. Yeah. Okay, so let's see. Hernan Gomez and Bogdan or Composer McCollum. That's a tricky one because Bogdan is not someone I love on this slate. But I much prefer Hernan Gomez to Composo. I guess the first one, and just hope Bogdan has a solid game. All right. Top fade. Good question. I want to say Steph Curry again because I think he'll be somewhat popular. He might be just a little bit over-owned. So I'll say Steph again. as far as the spend ups, right? Because I'm just thinking this through. Like, spend ups that are going to be popular: Westbrook, Steph, Sabonis. I think Jokic will get some ownership. Those are the guys that are going to be popular at the top. So, like, of those guys, I think Steph is the one I would fade. Nurk over 45 fantasy points. I think it's for sure doable. GPP, Dame, Caruso, Baze, Wagner, Nurkic, Trae Young, THT, and Draymond. The only issue I'll say is no Westbrook and Sabonis in that is a little bit risky, but wow. Thrifty Nickel, $100 super chat, man. No questions. I just want to say thanks for the content. Dude, that is so generous of you. Wow. I don't even know what to say. Like, I'm literally speechless. That's, I think, the most that someone's ever super chatted. Dude, thank you so much. Seriously. Like, yeah, I don't know what else to say. That means a lot to me. So thank you so much. Seriously, that's great stuff. Yeah. Really do appreciate that. Okay, so I think we're waiting on Noel news, right? If Noel is out and Taj starts, like, that's a value I think looks pretty good. I think we Lakers and Caruso and THT. I think both those guys look pretty solid. I will say there's not a lot of, like, standout value, but you got those guys. You got, is Hernan Gomez, do you consider 5.2K value, or like Bazemore? I'm not sure if you consider that value. You have maybe value in a guy like Daniel Tice if there's no Vooch. Maybe value in a guy like Jordan Poole if there's no Wiggins. So, yeah, I will say there's not a lot of smash value, but yeah, that's where we're at right now. W's for sure, yeah. Appreciate it, guys. Thank you. Appreciate the love, guys. Means a lot. It does mean a lot. Bogdanovic in for Atlanta. Yeah, so I think Bogdanovic is a guy that, or I guess, was that question? I was thinking it was Bogdan Bogdanovic. It could have been Bojan Bogdanovic. But yeah, Bogdan is a guy that I think you can use as part of a game stack. That's probably it. I think he's a little bit overpriced for like a cash game lineup. TK 2024. Wagner is starting for Orlando. Okay, so let's go over this. Let's go over what we got so far here. Okay, so yeah, Cole Anthony with Harris, Bacon, Wagner, and Carter Jr. So I think Mo Wagner probably looks the best for value there for the Magic. Harris and Bacon are playable, right? They're just never guys I love to play. And then Cole Anthony is a safer option in the mid-range. Yeah, I think Isaiah Stewart might go. I think he's going to go a little bit lower owned based on the last game, right? If Isaiah Stewart had like a 40 fantasy point game that last game, he would be way more popular. I think the only reason why he's going a little bit lower owned is that last game where he got in foul trouble and kind of busted. But I agree. I think Isaiah Stewart is my favorite Piston. I think he's going over. Josh Jackson or Kuzma, that's a really tough one. And honestly, that is a decision right now I'm still deciding on myself. So I think it's really close because I think both are going to play big minutes. It's really a coin flip. I guess, like, if you already have a couple Lakers and no Pistons, and maybe go Josh Jackson. If you already have a couple Pistons and no Lakers, and maybe go Kuzma. It kind of depends what the rest of your lineup looks like, but I like both a lot. Capella, Stewart, or Nurkic points per dollar. For me, I'm not really looking to Capella at that price. It would be Nurk or Stewart. Maybe Stewart slightly since he's a little bit cheaper. But yeah, those are two centers I like in the mid-range. Westbrook, Caruso, THT, Draymond, Jackson Hayes, Lonzo Gibson, and Randall for GPP. Okay, yeah, Jackson Hayes, he's kind of like the Gorgie Jang, and not as good a play as Gorgie Jang yesterday, right? Because I had a feeling Gorgie Jang and Eubanks were going to split the minutes. Hayes and Hernan Gomez won't really split the minutes, but if Hernan Gomez gets in foul trouble, then Hayes comes in. I do think Hayes probably gets close to 20 minutes either way, so I'm fine with that as a contrarian value play, and everything else looks pretty good. Yeah, Randall will be a little bit lower owned. Do you like RJ tonight? I honestly, I never really like playing RJ Barrett, but he's at 7K. He's going to play the big minutes. He's gone for 40 plus 3 of the last 5 games, so I'm not going to talk you off him. It just doesn't really stand out as like an amazing play at the price for me. Yeah, LeVert or CJ, that's a tough one. I like them both. I guess I'll slightly prefer LeVert because there's no Brogdon and no Miles Turner, whereas CJ basically has a fully healthy team, maybe besides Norman Powell. Best stack, Atlanta, Portland. I think that the best stack is probably the Pacers and Wizards game. But I do think this game I think this game is intriguing for GPPs for the fact that the ownership's going to be low, right? There's like no one that's going to be popular for Portland, Atlanta. That's the reason I like that as part of a stack. But I do think like optimal build-wise, I think you're looking to that Pacers-Wizards game probably. McCollum or Lonzo also is pretty close. I'll go Lonzo because he does more of the peripherals, but I like them both. Russ, Caruso, Horton, Tucker, Draymond, Nurk, Trey, Taj, and Hernan Gomez. Good for me for GPs, yeah. Is there value in Danny Green? He's got to hit his threes. Another guy I really dislike playing. He's at 4K. I don't think we have to go there on the slate. Yeah, I don't think Wagner's a must, but I do think he is someone we can look to for value for sure. Strategy for cash tonight, I think it's setting up for the stars and scrubs. I don't see how you fade Westbrook, right? I think that's pretty clear for cash games. You can pair Russ with a guy like Jokic. You can pair Russ with a guy like Sabonis in the opposite side of that game. I think that's perfectly fine. I'm just trying to think like spend up cash games. I mean, you can play. I try to refrain from playing Steph in cash because he still has that little bit of a lower floor. You could even go to Randall in cash games, to be honest. But I do think it's setting up for the stars and scrubs. So probably Westbrook with one more star at least. Balance will be contrarian. Balance will be contrarian. Stewart or Hernan Gomez. Again, I think they're two really good plays in the cheap to mid range. I think for a cash game setting, it's Hernan Gomez, maybe since he's a little bit cheaper, but I think I like the upside more than Isaiah Stewart. So if you're shooting for the upside, give me Stewart. Sorry if I missed some questions, guys. It is going a little bit fast, so if I do miss it, you can try to leave it again. I got about 5 minutes left. So Stewart or Draymond? If you have the salary for Draymond, I'll take Draymond. But again, I think Stewart's my favorite Piston. Trey's going. Yeah, Trey will be low owned. Again, Trey, like basically everyone in that Portland Atlanta game, I think will be low owned. So that's why I like it for GBPs. How much do you like THT? So my only concern with Talon Horton Tucker is maybe there's still a chance he only plays 20 minutes. Like somehow the Lakers will find a way to like not play him enough, and like they'll throw minutes to like Ben McLemore or like they're going to find a way somehow. Like they'll throw minutes to Ben McLemore, more minutes to KCP, Wes Matthews, but I don't see who else can bring up the ball besides Caruso and THT. So I think my guess is he plays 25-ish minutes, maybe a little bit more, and I do think he's a pretty good value. I think I prefer Caruso point per dollar since he's min price, but again, I do like Talon Horton Tucker. Do you like an AD Jokic stack with Cole Anthony in value? It's contrarian. I think fading Westbrook is super, super risky on a slate like this. Like, let's just say, if I was building 10 lineups tonight, I think you could use a couple fading Westbrook, like maybe one or two. Not much more than that, though. So, like, if you're only making one lineup, I don't see how you get away from him. So it's fine as contrarian lineup, but make sure if you're having more lineups, you get some Westbrook lineups in there too. I would love that. Yeah, chat meetup, that would be great, man. Yeah, Hernan Gomez or Kuzma, you guys asked some really tough questions. Like, I guess Hernan Gomez, but That's not a super strong take either. Like the Kuzma versus Josh Jackson is basically a toss-up. Hernan Gomez versus Kuzma also is like really close for me. Mo Wagner or McDermott on FanDuel and why? Okay, so what are the? Haven't looked on FanDuel. What's the pricing? If they're similar pricing, I probably prefer Mo. Just because he can do more of the peripherals, whereas McDermott really has to score the ball. But I think it's Mo for cash. If McDermott starts, we have that Pacers starting line. If McDermott starts, I like him for tournaments because that game's going to be super high scoring. So, do we have that yet? No, but I would say right now it's probably Mo for cash and McDermott for GPPs. Is Sabonis a lock? He's not a lock, but I think he's right up there with Westbrook as one of the best plays of the slate. Stewart or Draymond. Again, if you have the salary, I'll take Draymond. But those are two plays I like as well. THT love, yes. Again, I do like me some THT. Aside from Caruso and Taj, is Bane best utility 3,500 and under? I would guess. I mean, I can take a look really quick, but I think he's like really the only playable guy down there. You can, if Mulder starts for no Wiggins, then yes, you can play him. He's also, though, super reliant on scoring. I don't think I can stomach Sekou. I don't know. I mean, maybe does Simon start? Maybe they start three guards, possibly. It's like maybe playable if there's no Norman Powell. Again, I don't really know who Portland will start if Powell's out. But yeah, like Desmond Bane, I think what you at least know with him is he's going to play the minutes. It's just he's not been good as far as point per minute. Thoughts on Killian Hayes? One of the, as far as like the Pistons starters, one of my least favorite starters. It's just because like at that price, I think I'd rather get up for a little bit more for Sadiq Bey or a little bit more for Josh Jackson or even a little bit more for Isaiah Stewart. I think he's behind those guys, so maybe, him and Frank Jackson are close 4 and 5 for me, so just kind of like there. Can you play THT and Caruso in the same lineup? I think you can just because they're that cheap. Like THT's 4-1 and Caruso is the flat min. 4K for guard. Okay, so like in this range, there's really not much. I think you can play Caruso obviously the flat min. I think like there's a few playable guys. Like Steph Curry is playable. Again, though, he's got to hit his shots. Like maybe I just land on that and hope he actually does hit his shots. Like Rivers will play 25-ish minutes. Again, the low usage guy. There's no one that really stands out. I'll say that. Nurk or Gobert. For me, it's Nurk. Tori with the $5 super chat. Thank you so much. I know you've been in here a lot and always hit me with the love of the super chat. So thank you. Westbrook, Ingles, Josh Jackson, Sabonis, Stewart, Caruso, Wagner, and Taj. I think it's a pretty good lineup, yeah. I think Ingles is my favorite guy in the Jazz because he'll play more of the point. He'll play about 35 minutes. I like the Westbrook-Sabonis pairing a good amount. Stewart, too, is my favorite Piston. You got Josh Jackson in there, too. I like the build. Kuzma or Drummond, disregard salary. Okay, so if salary doesn't matter, if it's just straight up, it's Drummond for me. McDermott over THT. Yeah, I do like McDermott. Again, if McDermott starts, I think he's someone that is a good tournament play. Like, I would for sure consider playing Doug McDermott. It's just because the Pacers, they run like an 8-man rotation, right? They've been involved with a lot of blowouts recently, but they've like really like let's just go to the Pacers. I'll close out on this because I think it's pretty important. So again, Brogdon, Turner, Lamb, Sampson out. So yeah, what? Sabonis in the rotation, obviously. LeVert 2, Brissett 3, McConnell 4, Sumner 5, Justin Holiday 6, McDermott 7, and probably Aaron Holiday 8. Right? I don't think like that's really the rotation. It's an 8-man rotation in like a super high over/under game. I think McDermott is a value guy that has a lot of upside. Right? When he's hitting his shots, he can go for 40. Even if he like has a subpar shooting game, I think he could still get there if he plays like 30 minutes in a matchup like this. Yeah, I do like McDermott. So I want to mention a couple other guys here. Justin Holiday at 4.2. I think it's 25-ish minutes, a fair value play. McConnell at 5.4. We'll like him a lot more if he starts. If he comes to the bench, I think we get about 25 to 30 minutes. He's a guy that does have upside too. And then that was basically it, I think. With Aaron Holiday, I just don't have a great feeling on him, but He's gone for 20 plus the last couple of games. So the Pacers, yeah, they're going to run a super tight rotation, like them. Good luck, DK. Yeah, hopefully no injuries or foul trouble. That would be, So Thad Younger or Bey. Right now it's Sadiq Bey. But I will say, if Embiid gets ruled out, I do like Thad a good amount. I do think Thad is a really solid play in the mid-range. All right, guys, close it out with the Wizards starters. That's, okay, Len is starting too. You can take a shot at a guy like Gafford, but just be prepared for like 15 minutes from Scott Brooks. That's going to do it for the live stream, guys. Appreciate it. Really appreciate all the support and all the super chats, especially, $100 super chats, super generous. So thank you guys again. Love in the chat was felt for sure. Let's hope for a good night, no injuries, and I'll be back here tomorrow to break it all down for you guys. So I will see you guys all then. Enjoy the rest of your night, guys, and let's hope for some big wins.